Hi, Kat.
Hey, John.
How are you?
I'm good, John. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm pretty good.
It's pretty Elvis-y.
Is it?
Hey,
Oh,
hey there, John. How you doing?
thank you very much, Kat. I'm doing pretty good.
When I do Elvis, I'm doing Bruce Campbell doing Elvis.
Sure.
For the record.
That's like when I do President Bush the first.
Sure.
I'm always actually doing Dana
Dana
Carvey,
Carvey.
doing
Doing Bush.
Bush.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but we're not doing Bush right now.
Not right now.
Not currently.
Maybe later. Heyo.
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 Taking it down right away. I like it. Okay. So, Kat,
John.
what are we doing really?
Well, I think
Yeah.
we're reporting? No, recording
Recording.
a
Could be recording.
podcast.
We are recording a podcast.
You tell me,
You're
but-
correct. No, that's
Thank
what we're
you.
doing. That's
Okay.
what we're doing.
Okay.
And we know the name of the podcast. It's my mistake because you can't get this far without knowing it unless someone has you tied to a chair and blindfolded and they're playing us at you for means of torture, which, hey, we're happy to get the listeners.
This could be happening. I mean,
It
we
could
don't know.
be.
Like
you don't
in
know. People
some
do a
sort
lot
of
things.
on some like front line in some war going on.
That's right. They could be exposing people to us as a means of making them talk.
Again, we'll
Yeah.
take it.
We will. We will. But if you're not doing that, and you do know what the name of the podcast is, and what is it that we do on the My Mistake podcast?
Well, John, we talk about mistakes. We talk about
word.
my mistakes, your mistakes.
My mistakes.
Exactly. Sometimes we'll invite someone on to talk about their mistakes.
Sometimes we do that.
Sometimes we talk about nothing in particular, which ends up being what we call a shit shooter or a Dunny Dipper. We have all
Yeah.
kinds of different things that we call what we do here, but mostly
Right.
it's you and I talking.
That's mostly what it is. But Kat,
John?
I don't know if you remember. You need to think way back.
Speaking
It
of
used to
Dana
be-
Carvey.
Yes, exactly. You need to
Wayne's
think
World.
back.
What?
Wayne? Yes, exactly. Don't worry about stepping on me at all. It's fine. It's fine, Kat. We've always had great
I'm sorry,
time together.
Michael Scott.
That's-
Michael Scott, you
yes.
have to name the thing that you're referencing in case
Right.
somebody doesn't get it.
Right, exactly.
John, you were saying?
I was saying that we used to do a thing a long time ago
Yeah.
called an hysterical misstory.
Oh yeah. I
Remember those?
That. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
No.
remember those.
Yeah. And we don't much do them anymore. And the real reason, if I'm deadly honest with you, Kat, is just because you actually have to do stuff in advance to do an hysterical misstory.
It takes a lot of prep work,
It
and
does.
you and I both like to do things. We don't like to half-ass it. We ass and a half it.
I whole ass it every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
So it takes like hours and hours of prep work, and
kinda does,
It's hard when you have a job and a life, and it's really tough. So I love doing
I
them,
have
but
at
it's
least one of
just-
those.
I mean,
But yeah, but I tell you what, I have broken our dry spell, and I have prepared for you, Kat,
oh my god,
a true hysterical misstory tonight.
oh my god.
I know, right? It's very exciting for me too.
I'm excited because I love hysterical mistorks. Some of my favorite episodes that we've done have been hysterical mistorks.
Sure.
The best hysterical mistorks are the ones that I don't have to prep for.
Word.
I feel
and
like
I
you
feel
agree.
the same way. I feel I feel like the ones that you prepare for, I like listening to them more.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I like it when you present it. So
Well,
I
that's
don't
very
mean to
sweet.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
you've had some very good hysterical mistorks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not going to argue
You shouldn't.
on that point. Okay. So what we're talking about tonight, Kat,
Yeah.
it has a lot to do with names.
Okay.
So I thought I'd start out with a Shakespeare quote. And you probably think I'm joking, but I'm not.
John, I don't think you're joking.
No, right.
I've
And most
met
people
you.
have,
I've met you. So.
you've met me several times.
Couple times, yeah.
Yeah. So like this is from one of Shakespeare's most popular, if not best, plays.
Okay.
It's from Romeo and Juliet. And the quote is, such. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo, would he were not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Right? So,
And obviously that is from Macbeth.
Exactly, as you would know. That is Juliet in Juliet bemoaning the fact that Romeo had a name that was not compatible with her name because their families were at war. Right?
Is she bitching to the nurse about that? Is that the nurse?
I believe this is a soliloquy, meaning
Oh, okay.
it's kind of spoken to no one, to the air, to the audience. Sometimes you even speak it directly to the audience.
Copy that.
Right. But yeah, so names are what we're getting into tonight.
Interesting.
Okay. And
okay.
I have a veritable smorgasbord of names, name stories for you, Kat.
I mean, I will tell you right away, I have no idea what I'm in for. I have no idea what's coming.
My intention is to keep you in that state until the absolute denouement, the moment of crisis where you will actually like learn what the main thrust of this is.
Incredible.
Okay, well, let's see if I'm successful. And I want you to honestly let me know at any time if you figure out, like, because yeah, we start out in a different vein, but when we get into the real meat of it, that's where I'm going to be watching you to see when does that light of recognition come into your eyes, or does it? We'll see.
Oh, well, I mean, listen, it could go either way. I have my my official All Rise notepad here.
I like it.
I have a pen. This is how I
Yep.
take notes every week. When you say, I have a question, it's usually coming off of something I've written on this style of
I like it.
note-taking device.
Right.
I am prepared and ready to go. Mm-hmm. Hit me. Oh, look at you.
All right.
Very, very
This
similar.
is my former workplace pad of paper that I write notes
Isn't
on
that
sometimes.
great?
Yep, exactly. We worked someplace long ago. Well, mine was long ago enough that it was really common to have notepads. In any case, let's get started here. What's
Please.
in a name? Kat,
John.
in the 19th century, that's the 1800s to you and me,
Oh, thank you.
5 million German immigrants came to the United States.
Okay.
5 million. Now, these days, there's like 320 million people in the United States. Back then, it's a lot fewer.
Okay.
So the Germans made up the single largest immigrant group in the nation.
I have my first guess.
Okay. That is incorrect.
Okay, moving on.
Letting the mistakers know, Kat guessed Trump.
Crossing it off, moving on.
Right?
Okay.
Right? Okay. So, yeah. But keep guessing. I like it.
Okay.
So yeah, they made up the single largest immigrant group in the United States by the early 1900s, and they mostly had settled in the Midwest of the United States in towns that ended up having names like Germania and Berlin.
How original.
Right. These two towns both existed in Iowa. Okay.
Okay.
Right? And there was also a third place that did not have a German name called Davenport, where there was such a large concentration of Germans that it was actually kind of thought of as a German town. Like there were a lot of German festivals and all that kind of thing. But Kat, if I were to tell you that a lot of this changed in 1917, would you be able to guess what might have caused that change?
I would think it has something to do with World War One.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes!
Yes. You're already up by one. World War One. It started in 1914, but Americans are cool. We never want to arrive early to the party, so we hang back and like to make a big entrance, right?
Of course, yeah.
So we showed up 1917,
Sure, yeah.
and the baddies in World War One.
Yeah.
They were the Germans.
They were, yeah.
Right. And so even though the World War I only lasted like about 2 years for us, there was an awful lot of violence and hatred and anti-German sentiment here in the United States, even though...
Oh, in the U.S. Interesting.
Yeah, in the
Okay.
U.S. There were a lot of... People suspected people of German heritage that they might actually be spies. That it's I mean, this kind of thing happens a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
We saw it again in World War II with the Japanese.
Indeed, we did. And we just
Fine
went ahead and made
Japanese Americans.
internment camps for them.
Yeah, that's fun, huh?
Awesome, right? The best. Let's go camping. No.
No.
No, no, no. So when these Germans came to the United States, when they had come here, they brought with them a lot of really great food. And
Hell
Americans, Americans were here for it. Some of the foods they introduced are now thought of as some of the most American food that exists.
Lay it on me.
Yeah, well, I'm going to ask you. What do you think are some of if I were to ask you on the street without having told you a bunch of stuff about Germany, what would you say is the most American meal? That you,
I would say, John, a hamburger.
Hamburger
Or a hot dog.
or a hot dog. Indeed, these things it's American as apple pie.
Absolutely.
Which I don't think came from Germany, but who knows?
I mean, probably.
Probably. Why not? So at the time when they brought these things, the hot dog they referred to them as Frankfurter Wurst, which literally translates to sausage of Frankfurt, right?
Oh,
so the
I didn't
city
know
of
that.
the city of Frankfurt in Germany. So and it was shortened from Frankfurter Wurst, and Wurst in German is sausage. So it was shortened to be just Frankfurter.
Got it.
Much like the donut that is called a Berliner.
Oh, okay.
And it's sort of famously known that when JFK went to Berlin and said, "Ich bin ein Berliner," they thought it was pretty funny because what he really said was, "I am a donut," because people from Berlin were called something else, which I did not bother to research for this particular nugget of information. But they were not called Berliners.
I'm a donut.
I am a donut. Yeah.
It's cute.
Famous,
It's cute.
Famous stuff. It is. So here's the thing. Americans clearly were not ready to give up the foods that the Germans had brought, but they weren't about to call them by these dang foreign names anymore,
Sure.
especially not when they were the enemy. So Frankfurters, Kat, became Liberty sausages.
Oh, no.
Yes. And hamburger, ground beef, became Liberty steak.
Oh, God, we're so dumb.
I know, aren't we? And sauerkraut became Liberty cabbage.
Okay.
They even got to the point where people were calling dachshunds Liberty pups.
Stop it. Just stop.
I can't because it's the truth, and you know me. I can't speak anything but
So stupid.
right. But this is the thing. Like people feel very strongly about names. It's not. A rose by any other name does not smell as sweet. It's got to be a rose, or if we call it something else, then I don't know. It's weird. But the good thing about this is that Frankfurters never went back to being Frankfurters. They became hot dogs, and that's a whole other story that I'm not going to get into right now.
Okay, for another day.
Frankfurter Wurst to Frankfurter to Liberty sausage to a hot dog. Yeah. Hamburger went back to being hamburger because fucking hamburger, right?
Yeah, it's
Come
hamburger.
on, it's fine. It's and then sauerkraut is not called Liberty cabbage anymore. It is sauerkraut.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So this is an example of things that can happen with names. A lot of times things revert after, things cool down. Mm-hmm. So that's great.
That's so great.
It's so great, Kat. It really is. But I will say, you know how they say history repeats itself, and then some people say, well, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So it's
okay.
like it's not the exact same thing that's happening over and over again, but it's something like
pretty
similar.
close,
things.
yeah.
So history rhymed in 2003 when it was briefly popular to refer to French fries
Oh, Jesus.
as freedom fries. Kat,
Sure,
do you remember
yeah.
why?
Oh, because it had something to do with 2000. Was it the French didn't want to go to Iraq or Iran?
That's exactly right. Just stop
Yeah.
right there because you're perfect. Yes.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
That's two. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
yeah.
And you know what to do.
That's right. Let's hear some good dings instead of our phony voice dings. And so the French did not agree with us that it was the greatest idea to invade Iraq.
Oh, those idiots.
I know, right?
What are they talking about?
Where would we be now if we hadn't done that? Oh man, so much better
So
problem.
fucked up, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing: it's good that we that we got rid of a horrible dictator. That's great. And
Sure, yeah.
yeah.
Nothing wrong
it's
with that, I
nothing wrong
guess.
with that at all. Except then, if you just leave and there's a giant vacuum, and then who knows what the hell's going to fill that? Probably something worse.
That is bad.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that's where we are now. But I don't mean to get political, Kat. Okay.
No, we never talk politics
No,
on this podcast.
no. Yeah. Have you had freedom fries lately?
I promise you I have not.
Okay, I believe you. Yeah, that fad went away pretty quick. It faded with the excitement that the United States in general had about invading Iraq. That faded really fast.
It did. But
I don't think
John, did you ever call them freedom fries?
never unless I
I
was
didn't.
joking.
Right, exactly. It was
Right.
in my circle, which is a very, I mean, listen, this is smoking pot and eating lots of Taco Bell. But in my circle,
Right. In
we
your circle.
never called it freedom fries.
Fair. Well, that was in 2003. Were you still smoking pot and eating lots of Taco Bell in 2003?
Oh, brother, that
Probably.
was the heyday.
All right. Fair. I like it.
The golden days.
Right. All right. So moving on from that.
Okay.
But speaking of Iraq,
Okay.
there is another name that belonged to some pretty cool shit at one time. Kat.
Okay.
Like goddesses and chocolates. But that name got pretty well clobbered around 2014.
Okay.
Okay. Are you on it? Are you think no? Let me know when you guess it. If you do.
Say that again. Repeat
there's
that, John.
There's a name that belonged to that was slapped onto a goddess and a certain kind of chocolates
Oh man,
and a lot of women.
I am blowing this.
No, you're fine. I'm gonna blow it right now though. Like for 1 year, when I was a kid, between 1975 and 1976, there was a Saturday morning TV show called ISIS.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh no.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, ISIS was a great show. I mean, it probably if I were to watch it now, the production value probably would not hold up. But in 1975, 76, it was pretty great. One of the reasons it was the first American live action television series with a female superhero lead character.
Oh, that's great.
Right?
Dope.
It came out a little bit before both The Bionic Woman and Wonder Woman. And
Whoa.
It was on every Saturday morning. Like there were cartoons, and then there was this live action show.
I've never heard of ISIS. You think I would have heard of ISIS?
I would think that you would have. One thing about it, it's no longer called ISIS. When it went in syndication, it was renamed The Secrets of ISIS.
Sure, yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I don't know what that did for them. Like it seems like it might even be worse than just ISIS. Like
Right.
This is like the secrets of and I for anybody who doesn't know at this point.
Secrets of ISIS.
Yeah.
Sounds like a studio exec came up with that one.
Right. That's like, but you will find that this is. Here's the thing, Kat. When you name something,
Yeah.
and you spend a lot of money marketing and advertising it under that name, just because that name doesn't like all of a sudden it falls out of favor, people really think they can just tack another word onto the
Right.
name and make that work, or some more words. I have not found that to actually work. I don't think The Secrets of ISIS is any better
I see.
than ISIS. But okay. So I wanted to mention that you should watch ISIS because I will tell you that when I think about ISIS from when I actually watched it on TV back in the day,
Yeah.
the closest thing that I can think of as an analog to it now
Don't
would be
say it.
something like Xena Warrior.
I was gonna guess. Okay, that's so
Yeah?
interesting.
Okay, sorry, I shouldn't have
Okay.
said it.
No, it's please. I'm writing down watch ISIS.
Watch ISIS if you can find it.
Okay.
I have not even checked YouTube because again, research is hard.
Somebody's put it out there somewhere.
Yep.
All right. Great.
Okay. So then, and the chocolates that I mentioned,
Right.
there was, Kat, a chocolate company in Belgium. People of Belgium, people of Denmark, thank you for tuning in. We're talking about you, Belgium, this time,
love
but
you
Denmark,
all.
stay tuned. I really should have quoted something from Hamlet instead of
Oh,
Romeo and
dude.
Juliet. Then I could have had Belgium and in Denmark in the whole thing.
Dude.
I know, right? Okay, I'm terrible. Whatever. Anyway, Kat, there was a chocolate company in Belgium that was super bummed in 2014.
Oh no, what were they called?
Well, the reason they were super bummed, Kat, is that they made the decision in 2013, less than 1 year,
Oh no.
to change their name from Italo Suisse
Oh yeah.
to ISIS.
Oh no.
Right. Now, here's the thing that's kind
That
of
is a-
crazy for me.
Very unfortunate timing.
It was. Think about all of the stationery and all of the marketing, and all of the things you spend all the money on, the letterhead,
notepads.
right? All the notepads for
They had like pens with their
right.
name on it.
You know, there's some swag, right? Like
There's
it's,
a lot.
Yeah. Right. And so they called themselves ISIS because their original name was Italo Suisse, which is weird because Italo is Italy, like Italian, and Suisse is Switzerland,
Yeah.
and they were located in Belgium.
Yeah, it's confusing.
So they decided they needed a new name, and they're like, all right, well, our name is Italo Suisse. That starts with I, and then the next word starts with an S. Why don't we just double it? And that's why they named themselves ISIS,
Oh no.
right? So, their sales decreased in all English-speaking countries, and it amounted to a loss of up to €100,000 in that one year for them. And apparently, that's a lot for a chocolate company. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's
that's
too bad. It's
yeah.
not their fault.
It's not. But you also, like, there were stores that flat out refused to stock anything called ISIS on their shelves.
Sure.
Right? Because enemies, that's what's
yeah.
up. Yeah, and I'm not saying these people are good. Because like the reason people reacted so strongly to them is because they actually posted videos of them beheading people.
Yeah.
Not
Pretty brutal, horrifying stuff.
awful stuff. Yep. Yeah. So they quickly rebranded Kat.
Smart.
Yeah, as Liebert. Liebert? Libeert. So I gave that the best couple of pronunciations I could come up with.
I'm sure you nailed at least one of them.
Right.
Okay. How'd that do? Did that work out for them?
They seem to be doing fine. They're still around. They're still kicking it, making
Okay,
chocolate.
good.
Yeah. I doubt that name helped them all that much in the English. I mean, it's definitely better than ISIS.
It is.
But when you put BEER in your name, you don't want to put a T after it. It's just Liebert.
It's not sexy.
Right.
Liebert.
Liebert. So the thing is that's really messed with me about ISIS to begin with is like it's one of the least accurate names for this group. Because, and you may remember at the time when reporters and all these people were starting to use the term ISIS, they were saying it stood for Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. But the thing is, that wasn't at all, if you read the Arabic name of what they were.
Okay.
The closer name to it was Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant. The Levant is an area that spans, it's an ancient area that spans several countries and not just Syria. So that's why you may remember that President Obama always said ISIL instead of ISIS.
I remember that became a thing, yeah.
Yeah. And then later people started saying Daesh, which is actually an acronym of the Arabic words that make up the organization. And apparently it's kind of a big middle finger when you say it that way, because in Arabic you don't make acronyms unless you are disparaging, unless you're lessening the effect. So from now on I've decided I'm calling it Daesh.
Daesh, that works for
Daesh,
me.
yeah, there we go. But anyway, that's like a quick little aside. But it is, again, with the names. If we had actually chosen to go with ISIL, that chocolate company would be happy.
Totally fine.
That TV show would never have had to change its name to The Secrets of ISIS from just ISIS. Yep, none of that
Again,
would happen.
not better, but okay.
Right, yep. Yep. So in my research, Kat, I found a ton of stories about women named ISIS who had to deal with so much bullshit. Like even more bullshit than women in general have to deal with, which is
I mean,
plenty.
on top of being a woman,
Right.
you're named ISIS.
You're named ISIS. It's just like
God help
that's the
ya.
shit icing on the crap cake. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, but so I decided not to cover that in too much detail because it's kind of depressing. It involves
Oh, no.
individuals, and yeah. But,
I'm sure it's bad.
but it's not the best. But less depressing is that
Okay.
the cartoon, which I don't know if you've ever watched, Archer. Have you ever watched
Sure.
the show Archer?
I have, yeah.
Do you remember the name of the organization that all the main characters in Archer worked for?
John, I think it's ISIS.
Ding, 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 ding. However, did you guess?
Well,
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that being like, huh, unfortunate.
Right? Yeah. It stood for International Secret Intelligence Service. There are and that, by the way, they had to pull merch because they actually sold
God.
like sweatshirts that said ISIS
no.
on them and all that stuff. So they pulled all that. But
I mean,
there were-
it kind of is funnier using if they continue to use ISIS. It's kind
Right.
of like it's a bigger joke. but
Right.
Clearly,
I was kind of surprised, but yeah, they actually had them, like they ended up changing the name of the organization and eventually they just ended up working for the CIA and it's the whole thing.
like, fuck it. It's
Mm-hmm.
the CIA.
Yep. But yeah, there were so many things that were called ISIS before like 2014
Yeah.
that I just decided to really pare it down to just the ones that I found most interesting.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, and most of them did change their names.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I can tell you that in the old days, the huge stacks of drives that we would use as a central hub in a post-production office where all the computers were connected to, where they could all share footage from,
Right?
is the ISIS.
Sure.
Now they're called a Nexus.
There you go.
So there you
Actually,
go.
might even be a better name. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, Nexus
Yeah.
kind of feels more of what that. It's a Nexus. It's,
Yeah.
makes more sense.
There were a lot of computer programs and applications called ISIS because apparently ISIS is a great. There are a lot of things that you can make acronyms out of.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. So that is the story of the unfortunate things named ISIS.
Sure.
Before
Fantastic.
2014.
Love that.
Yeah. So in a more recent case of names aging like milk cat rather than wine,
Yes.
we have Corona beer.
Oh no.
Now, this one is interesting because I thought it was going to be just kind of another one like the rest of these. You know, like okay, it's people reacted poorly. And here's the thing, like when the pandemic first started,
Yes.
you may remember people were calling it the coronavirus. It is, COVID is a coronavirus, but there are other coronaviruses that are not COVID.
Got it.
So after a while, we kind of got away from calling things corona and started
Sure.
calling them COVID.
I mean,
So-
our special episodes were the Corona Diaries, right?
That's right.
We
That's
were
right.
also part of that problem.
We were. I mean, I don't know if it was a problem. It just wasn't as specific.
Got it.
So people hearing it now, Corona beer, it probably doesn't have as much of a ring to it. But back then, it really did. People were concerned. They're like, "Oh, are people gonna stop drinking Corona?" And then you have the really stupid people. Well, but here's the thing. I mean, people.
Why would you think there's Corona, like COVID, in a bottle of Corona?
Well, you have to be dumb first of all to think that. And here's the good news, Kat. It didn't actually happen. People didn't stop buying Corona beer.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right. I was surprised because I thought, okay, a bunch of dumb people stopped buying it, whatever. And part of the misinformation, because I don't know if you heard anything about that, about people not buying Corona. They did a survey, and they asked people if they would be willing to drink Corona beer. They did not introduce it in the context of the coronavirus,
Got
the
it.
novel coronavirus. So it was like 38% of people were like, no, I'm not drinking freaking Corona because it's water. Let's face it. It's fine, but it's water.
Yeah. I was going to say the only thing that's in a bottle of Corona is just terrible beer.
like I don't. Yeah, it's water. If you put a lime in it, it's fine. I can drink 17 of them, and it's not a problem. I have to pee a lot.
It's not good though.
No, it's not great.
It's like it gives you Corona gut is a thing. Like it's just like ugh. It's not a good beer. Don't drink Corona.
I guess don't drink Corona. Don't,
Not because of the COVID, just because treat yourself a little better.
Right. But here's the thing that's interesting. They did stop making Corona for a little less than a month in April of 2020. Oh. But it wasn't because like people were like, oh, they stopped making it because people didn't like it. No, they stopped making it because they make it in Mexico, and Mexico had a really bad outbreak. Oh. And Mexico basically said any non-essential company needs to stop doing stuff.
Well, that's sad.
Well, yeah, it is. It was, but I mean, like they started making it, and it turned out that in the first 3 months of 2020, Corona said their sales increased by 8.9%.
Oh wow!
So they actually I have a feeling people may have been having like Corona parties, like let's buy a bunch of Corona and do
that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I mean that's like almost 9%. That's a pretty big jump.
That's a huge jump. They're like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to us.
Right.
This Corona thing, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think anybody thinks about it now. So that's this is like the outlier where it's like, oh, okay, it did not get damaged all that badly by what happened. Yeah. So, okay, Kat, these, I'm going to be honest with you. These have all been sort of appetizers, if you will, to the main event.
Okay.
And I saved the main event for last because it's the main event, but also because it may be the darkest of all of these, and all of these have some darkness to them.
Sure.
But this one, it's bizarre. Okay.
Okay.
That's how I'm going to start this off.
All right.
So the thing that makes it really weird that it's dark and heavy and all that is that it's literally a candy, Kat.
Okay.
It's a candy. It was introduced in the 1930s. It was very popular, and it had famous stars who did print ads for it and everything. Okay. Do the names Hedy Lamarr and Zsa Zsa Gabor mean anything to you?
Of course.
I mean, hello.
Hello.
So, yeah, it was kind of a big deal. Mm-hmm. And when the candy was introduced, it wasn't just as a candy, although that's all it really was at that time. It was part of a reducing plan.
Oh no.
Okay. Do you know now? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
So the angle was kind of like you eat candy and lose weight. Which,
Sure.
who doesn't want to do that?
I mean, like, was it be like eat candy and nothing else kind of a thing? Or this candy is going to make you lose weight?
Specifically, they said you do not need to alter your diet or exercise regimen in any way.
My goodness.
Right?
Okay.
Right. And now it was bullshit. Because, Kat, there was nothing in this reducing candy that would actually cause someone to lose weight.
Okay.
In 1945, the FTC even reprimanded the company that made it, saying, in connection with the sale of this product, a so-called weight-reducing product, which the commission found was nothing more than caramel candy enriched with certain vitamins and minerals, the respondents were ordered to cease disseminating any advertisement which represents that excess weight may be removed through use of the product in conjunction with the respondent's weight-reducing plan without the necessity of restricting the diet. So the FTC, which apparently we didn't have the FDA yet at that point, but I'm happy somebody was looking into stuff.
I'm shocked, frankly, that there was someone who gave a shit.
In 1940, the war is still kind of on here,
Yes, there's other things to worry about.
Yeah, somebody took these things into a lab and figured out what was in them, and there's nothing in there that's going to make you lose weight.
Okay.
And essentially, I think the thinking was this candy's really rich. This caramel is really rich. You're going to eat one of these, and you're not going to want to eat anything else for a while.
Oh.
But I mean, what has more calories than a freaking chewy caramel candy?
Not much.
I mean, it seems silly. I want to quote an article from Medium by a guy named Ernie Smith.
Okay. Love him. Love Ernie.
Right. Love Ernie. But by the 1970s, the strategy had gained a whole new level of sophistication. when full-page advertorial articles were published in newspapers with headlines such as, "I got stuck in a church pew before I lost 70 pounds."
Wow.
It was, yeah, right? These were like, it looked like a news story, right? In the newspaper, and it was printed right in there. And the headline was, I got stuck in a church pew before I lost 70 pounds.
Okay.
And Ernie says it was literally clickbait with nowhere to put your cursor. Because this is in the 70s. So there was
Sure,
no,
yeah.
there's no clicking going on.
Huh. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And it was sponsored content from this candy?
100%. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So now by the 80s, Kat, they actually did add an ingredient to the candy
Okay.
that could conceivably cause someone to lose weight.
Okay.
Okay, and that ingredient was benzocaine. Now, if you've taken like basic chemistry, anything that ends in cane,
Okay.
it usually means it's some kind of anesthetic. So like cocaine was an anesthetic.
Like a goat piss or?
No, that is an antiseptic.
Okay. Yep. Let me write that down.
Right? So
Do not confuse the two.
No.
All right,
So
okay.
so benzocaine is like a topical anesthetic, and if you ever had Sucrets when you were a kid,
Yeah.
yeah, and if you
The
suck that-
throat?
yeah, the throat lozenge.
Yeah.
And they had benzocaine in them, and if you ate them like candy, like I used to, you would find that suddenly you would start talking like this.
You get a little numb. Get a little
Because
numb
it
in
numbs
there.
your tongue. And that was what this candy was depending on, made it so like, oh, people's tongues are numb. They can't taste, so they won't eat as much.
So stupid.
I know, right? But, and they're still eating these caramels in order to numb their tongue, which are like full calorie, full sugar, everything.
Okay.
Anyway, but so after they did that, they later replaced the main ingredient of benzocaine with phenylpropanolamine.
Oh.
Now, Kat,
Sounds
if I were to
like.
say fen-phen,
Oh, sure. Yep.
right?
I'm with you.
Fen-phen was a diet pill or a diet ingredient that a lot of people were taking, and they were having great effects with
Like
it.
a
It just-
miracle diet pill.
Exactly. It was a miracle if you didn't have a heart attack when you took
Exactly.
it, because if you took too much, people were developing real bad heart problems.
It was for real bad.
For real bad. Yeah. Now, the thing is that this seems like it would be a really bad problem. Like, okay, well, now that you've put heart-stopping medication into candy. There's no way this is going to. Fortunately, Kat, it wasn't going to be that much longer before this was not going to be a problem anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
The problem took care of itself.
Problem, you could say that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is the part. I actually have written this into my little script.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what I'm talking about, Kat?
John, I don't. I'm racking my brain as you've been led us down this particular path, and I really cannot think of what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed.
You should not be. I purposely tried to mask this because this is the moment. We have
Okay.
arrived at the time when I'm going to reveal to you the name of the candy and just why it is such a bad, bad thing.
Okay.
Okay?
Am I going to
So,
kick myself? Am I going to be like, oh God?
I don't know.
Okay.
Our difference in ages, like everyone my age is going to know what this is, I think, by now. There are probably people who've been screaming at
Screaming
their
it,
phone
yeah.
for the last like 5 minutes or so, or 10 minutes or 15, however long it's been, saying, "You dummy, it's this."
How dare you, first of all?
Right. But I will say I introduced this to some people who are younger than I, closer to your age.
Okay.
And they were appalled.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for that, Kat,
Yes. Oh no. Oh, this is the multimedia portion
is the
of
multimedia presentation.
our. Okay.
I'm going to play for you a video now. It is
So
a
excited.
group of commercials about the product that I've been telling you about.
Okay.
Hang on one second. Crap. Because I'm going to stop because I have to make sure that I'm sharing the audio.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Got to get this right.
Yep, because there is a checkbox for share sound. All right, here we go,
I love it.
and it's happening.
I've tried fad diets, powders, pills. Still, my weight's been up and down like a yo-yo until the AIDS plan taught me how to take off weight and help keep it off.
AIDS may taste like a candy, but AIDS contains one of the most effective appetite suppressants you can buy. And there's no stimulant in AIDS that could make you nervous.
No.
With AIDS, I ate less, so the
yeah.
weight came off. To help keep it off when I sometimes want things loaded with calories, AIDS helps put me in control.
Let the AIDS plan teach you how to take off weight and help keep it off.
No.
Try peanut butter AIDS.
Don't try peanut butter
I'm not
AIDS.
gaining weight. I'm losing weight deliciously with the aid of AIDS. The AIDS diet plan really works.
AIDS candy contains a safe and effective appetite suppressant when used as directed. Helps curb your appetite so you can lose weight. And AIDS candy has no stimulant that can make you nervous.
The plan lets you
Oh,
enjoy
I'm
2
already
eggs before
nervous.
Each meal.
Uh-huh.
Delicious
As well you
chocolate
might be.
flavor. And I love
Stop
being
putting
a
the AIDS
size
in your
10
mouth.
again.
Lose weight deliciously with the aid of
Exactly.
I was
One
overweight
more.
and embarrassed to go anyplace. AIDS helped me get back into a size 12.
No, Gloria,
The
don't.
AIDS diet plan helped me get back into a size 6.
AIDS helps control your appetite so you lose weight. Yet AIDS lets you taste, chew, and enjoy. And the appetite suppressant in
chew, and
AIDS is not a
enjoy.
stimulant.
This fucking
AIDS
guy.
helped me lose the weight and has nothing in it that could make me nervous.
Question, why take diet pills
Makes
when
me
you can
very
enjoy
nervous.
AIDS? AIDS helps you lose weight safely and effectively. Use only as directed.
Oh,
All right,
no,
I'm gonna
John.
stop it there. I know. It's just awful. It's just awful. But Kat, there was a revolution because we had all they advertised so heavily in newspapers, in magazines, on TV. You could not get away from AIDS.
Well, I will tell you, this is all completely new to me.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of that product. I don't remember any of those types of ads.
Right?
I completely missed this particular moment in time.
Okay. You know what? I think that's okay. And
What year was some of those commercials? What are we
these were
talking?
mostly
early
like
80s?
the 70s, late 70s through early 80s, and like about 83, 84 is when we first started
Okay.
to know about acquired immune deficiency syndrome.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Which is a terrible disease.
Awful.
People are now able to live long, healthy lives with it. Thank
Thankfully,
goodness.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but there were a lot of really horrible jokes that people were telling.
Well, I'm
like,
sure,
lose
John.
weight with AIDS. I mean, we just told some.
Oh, God, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's super bad. So it was so bad that you would think that the company would have immediately changed the name.
Yeah.
But the name had been around for almost 50 years, Kat. And again, when you name something, and then you advertise it and market it ruthlessly for 50 years, you're going to be a little loath to change that.
You got to double down.
Right. And so the company that owned the product actually issued a statement from, well, one of the employees of it, I think he might have been actually the CEO, issued a statement saying he thought the disease ought to change its name because,
No, he didn't.
yeah, he did.
He did not.
He did say that.
What an absolute piece of shit.
Well, sure. There you go. I mean, there was a lot of piece of shits around. Pieces of shit. Yeah. There were a lot of those around at the time. And so then they sold the product to another company. It's
Okay.
actually Depp. You remember Depp?
I don't.
Depp.
The hair product?
Yes, the hair
Oh,
product.
the gel.
Yeah.
I remember Depp. Okay.
The Depp Corporation that made Depp hair gel bought the product for $75 million.
Holy
and that's
shit.
in 80s dollars, baby.
That's a lot.
Right? And then, so they got together and were like, listen, this ain't working. This name is like, it's bad news.
We have to have a meeting.
Yeah, we have to have it. They had a lot of meetings and they got together and they talked about a lot of alternative names.
Okay.
And clearly there were focus groups. There were like marketing companies, I'm sure. Kat, would you like to know what they settled on for the final name?
Please tell me.
Diet AIDS, Kat.
No, John,
Yes.
you're making that
no,
up.
I am not.
John, stop it.
They called it Diet AIDS.
What the fuck were they thinking? How is that better?
It was the same thing that I said about the secrets of ISIS. It's like But the thing is, what people they don't want to remove the known name, right? Like because people who had already bought into the AIDS phenomenon, they weren't gonna stop buying AIDS.
Yeah.
But the problem was it was going to be hard to get new people to buy AIDS who hadn't bought AIDS before.
I would imagine, yeah.
What I'm really doing right now is I'm making up for all of the times that I almost said AIDS before I exposed to you what this was.
Fair enough. Continue.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, you've made it worse now. Like now it's even worse, I think.
Diet AIDS. Yeah, well, peanut butter AIDS was one of the moments
No.
in that. Yeah, that was one of the moments in the commercial that just
people?
like try peanut butter AIDS. It's like
I don't want to.
No, right. So here's the thing: they called it Diet AIDS. They continued to advertise in newspapers, but they stopped putting it on like so much on heavy rotation
Dummies.
on TV. And to the best of my knowledge, there are some publications that actually gave explicit dates when the product stopped being distributed, but they didn't agree with each other. And the more careful things that I have read said that the last known advertisement for the product happened in 1993.
Okay.
So what we know is that by 1994, it probably did not exist.
Okay.
There are some copycat products that do still exist that are like candies that are supposed to make you lose weight.
Okay.
But yeah, that's so
Wow.
RIP Diet AIDS 1994.
Diet AIDS.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to have been in those conference rooms.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to we have to think of a name
Mm-hmm.
that keeps AIDS but makes it just seem completely unrelated and like,
Yep.
we really got to come on guys, we're not leaving
Yeah.
until we figure this out.
Yeah. Well, the fact that so many of the slogans that they used fit so perfectly into this horrible,
So bad.
like lose weight with AIDS. AIDS let me get into a size 6.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. But it all happened before AIDS existed, or at least
Sure.
a lot of it happened before it existed, and then some of it happened before we knew what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know this isn't like the most uplifting hysterical Mastork we've ever done.
It's not. I mean,
No.
we've definitely done darker ones.
For sure. I mean, A Brief History of Vancouver and Vehicular Manslaughter. That one, we really got our teeth into that one.
It was short and sweet, I feel.
Yeah. Well, we really, I don't know what it was. I think we had just enough to drink that we really weren't worried about sounding like
probably.
horrible people.
Yeah. Was that
'cause
in person? That must have been in person, right?
I think it was. Man, we need to do one in person. We do.
We do.
Needs
We
to
do.
happen.
I miss it.
Yep, I do too. So did you
Wow.
write anything down on your pad that you still want to ask, or have you covered it?
You,
All right.
you covered it, and
All right.
a tremendous job. I mean, my first guess was Trump because
Mm-hmm.
I believe they did. It wasn't his. Was it his grandfather or great grandfather was a German immigrant?
I thought he was Polish, and they
Okay.
changed it. He said they were German.
Ah.
Because he didn't want to sound like he was of Polish descent, because of course he's not, he's a racist and an
Right.
awful person.
Got
so
it.
he'd rather sound German than Polish, but I believe it was Drumpf.
Oh,
was
that's
it
that's
was
right.
DRUMPF.
That's
Drumpf.
what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
And they made it Trump instead.
And so I crossed that out.
Mm-hmm.
That was my really only guess. And then I have it says Watch ISIS. I have to
Right.
watch that show.
Definitely watch The Secrets of ISIS.
I have Corona Diaries crossed out because,
Right.
remember we did that.
Remember we did
And
it?
then I just have Bad Beer.
Bad beer,
I
Corona,
crossed
for
that out
sure.
too, yeah, because it's
Yep.
just terrible. Again, terrible beer.
Yep. it is.
No, I really had no idea, and I don't remember that product at all. I feel like I was just too young to have grasped and held on to that.
I'm almost certain you saw it, because
I'm
I
sure
know
it did.
it definitely coincided with the time of the Crypt Keeper. And I know from past episodes that you and the Crypt Keeper, you're tight.
We're very close, and we used to talk on the phone all the
A
time.
lot. It was quite expensive for your dad.
Hey, anything for my friend, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll extend myself for a friend.
That's right. That's right. So I know you were watching TV at the time, but yeah, you just may not have seen that. They showed it a lot during like oh god, who was the Morton Downey Jr. show?
Oh, right.
And Sally Jesse Raphael and all the yeah.
So it was more of a daytime commercial, daytime TV.
Believe it or not, Morton Downey Jr. Was a nighttime show. It was like prime time.
Okay.
But yeah, Sally Jesse Raphael was daytime. And I mean, like I found some very interesting things. Like, I don't know if you knew this. I know that you know that I am a fan of David Bowie. I'm a big fan of David Bowie.
I do know this.
And apparently when Mr. Bowie was quite young, he worked at an advertising agency. And here's a quote from him. I loathed it. I had romantic visions of artists' garrets because he was an artist. He was a graphic artist for this company. Though I didn't fancy starving. Their main product was AIDS slimming biscuits. And I also remember lots of felt tip drawings and paste ups of bloody raincoats. And in the evening, I dodged from one dodgy rock band to another.
Whoa.
David Bowie discussing his time as a commercial artist in the 1960s.
Whoa.
Right?
That's cool.
Yeah. AIDS slimming biscuits. That was another product that the company that made AIDS candy made.
What interesting. I didn't know that he worked as a graphic artist
Right?
in the 60s. That's fascinating.
Here's the thing that's really weird. I've read 3 different biographies of David Bowie. And now, granted, I read them quite some time ago, but I did not remember. It did not carry over for me that he ever did anything other than music. And some of his weird stuff, like the Men with Long Hair Club of Greater London or something that he created.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, AIDS just popped up everywhere once I started looking for it. Yeah.
Well
So,
done. I had
thank
no
you.
idea. I had no idea. Very good.
I got deep into names, and I'm like, what are some of the worst names that have ever existed?
What inspired the topic? What was the first one where you're like, oh, interesting. How did that all work out?
Okay, so what's fun is that I can trace this back to a couple people who you know, and people who are avid listeners of the podcast would also know. It started with one Ron Bunny.
Ron Bunny!
Friend of the pod.
Love Ron Bunny.
He texted me a photo of a video cable, an HDMI cable, that had the unfortunate name, and I didn't cover this one, of COVID.
Okay.
The company that made this cable was called COVID.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like video company, COVID. And so he sent me that, and I was like, that's great, but I can do you one better. And I looked on YouTube for the commercials, and I sent him that, and the response after he watched it was literally, holy fucking shit.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then he suggested that I should send this to a group text that I have with some other people who are much younger than I. And I did so, and the response was immediate and strong. And one of the people on that text group is Nick Morris, who's been on the show a couple of times.
Nick,
and he said, yeah, it was actually Nick's idea. He said, have you hysterically mistorked this yet? And I said, I have not. Do you think I should? And he said, yes. So that's
Nick's a champion.
He is. He's a legend in his own time.
He is indeed.
Yep.
Amazing.
So yeah, that is the origin story
of
the What's in a Name. You can tell I've tentatively titled the episode, but I feel like you should actually title it.
I don't know, man. You did all the legwork on that one. I love how we started with Shakespeare.
Yep.
We ended with peanut butter AIDS.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, wow.
Yeah. I know, right?
Just wow.
It is just wow. And this is the thing. One of the thoughts that kept coming back to me as I was researching this is there's a reason that we don't put the faces of living people on our money, Kat.
Yes.
Because if you're alive, you just might do something awful.
There's time for you to fuck up.
There is. And if you do something like that is that is bad enough that we have to like collect all the money and replace it with some different money,
It's gonna be a problem.
that's going to cost a lot of money.
Right. Well, and of course, the irony of putting dead people on your money is that you will eventually find out that they were kind of horrible assholes.
This is where we are now.
This is
we're
where we are.
canceling history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Right.
Thomas Jefferson. Not
Yeah.
a good dude.
Not a great dude in every way.
No.
This is one of the I think one of the hardest lessons humanity will have to learn is that there's no such thing as a hero. Everybody who's done something great has also done something horrible.
Yep.
Not everybody who's done something horrible has also done something great, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
so it's really tough to know how to feel about people who did some great things, but then also wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes you think. That's what we do here. We're just, we make people think.
I'm still waiting for those Harriet Tubman $20 bills, right? Or
Yeah.
the 50s, 20s, I think.
Where the fuck are those?
I don't know. We've been hearing about them for years. We heard about them for years. And
I
then
mean, listen, that woman was something.
she was.
She was a fucking
As a matter
badass.
of fact, yeah. Like she is worthy of. I don't know. It's not really hysterical. It's actually historical what she did.
Yeah,
I mean, she became a soldier in the Union Army. And
She
was
led
like a badass.
Yeah,
yes.
she led like a troop of
Yeah, she
Union
was like a general,
soldiers. She was a
basically.
spy. She was a smuggler. And, she had to do some pretty awful things to survive, to make sure the majority survived. Like, she was a total badass.
She was.
Where are those goddamn $20 bills?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'll pay you $21 for them. That's just where I'm at.
Maybe we do like an offshoot where it's not hysterical and historic. It's just like fucking awesome.
Fucking awesome people in history.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
god damn.
I like it.
Because like, it's when you read about someone like that, where you're like, oh, you think you know who this person was, and then you're like, oh, all the stuff that they don't teach you in history class. You're like, oh my god, that's fucking amazing. Like, I feel like you get the same reaction of like, oh, peanut butter AIDS. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
I feel like it's that same level of discovery.
Indeed. But more pleasant in the case of that.
Way more
Way
fun.
more pleasant.
Less
More pleasant.
dark, more fun.
Yep.
You don't feel bad later, like when you're lying in bed and you're like, wow, I was laughing really hard at all those AIDS commercials. I think I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Good night. Good night, honey.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a there are a few stories that from back in that time that are just like they did not age well. Like the ways that certain people acted in presidential press conferences and things like that.
Sure, yeah.
The president of the United States didn't say the word AIDS for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, long time.
Yep. Thanks, Ron.
Oh my God, his wife is a fucking piece of work too.
Oh, yes, she was. Heard an interesting thing about her that I'm not going to say on here, but I might tell you later. If anybody out there thinks
good blowjobs.
Yes, you knew about that.
Okay, come on, man. That's
all right.
That's like so 2022.
Okay, fine. I don't tend to talk about blowjobs with my lesbian podcast partner that much.
I mean, surprising actually, right? Surprising that doesn't come up more often, so to speak.
Oh my goodness. We're really ending this on a weird note.
Okay, we gotta get. We have to get out of here.
I feel like we've done a thing. I have presented to you all of the evidence that was in Discovery. So
we have done a thing. There's no doubt of that, John.
The thing has been done, and I then throw down the gauntlet to you.
Well, hold on.
Oh, okay.
If you are listening, and you have really enjoyed yourself tonight or today, Do us a favor. Will you please subscribe to this podcast if
Please
you
do.
haven't already? If you have subscribed, leave us a review.
Totally.
Give us a rating, but only if it's 5 stars.
Anything less than 5 stars is a negative.
Yeah. If you feel like you would really want to click on that 4th star or lower, send us an email instead and tell us what you didn't like.
Yeah.
And give us a chance to improve before you ruin our rating. Okay?
Please, yes, because we do have a perfect rating.
We
Anybody
do.
listening right now could mess that up,
Kind of shocking.
right?
So send that less than 5-star review to mymistakepodcast@gmail.com.
Right?
Or, John, how else can
Or-
people reach out to us and tell us how much they hate us?
They can find any way but fewer than 5 stars, and
Yes.
those ways are you can find our page on Facebook if you're still on Facebook.
Oh, they still do that over there?
Some people still are doing that. Apparently, there's some kind of paid verification that's going to happen on Facebook, which is really weird to me.
Okay.
Because it's like, I need to pay to make my friends know it's really me. I doubt it. I don't think so. It's very different from Twitter. Why are you
Bizarre.
doing this?
Why are you doing this?
Anyway, if you are still on that platform, as I am, because I am of a certain age and many of my people who I only have contact with through Facebook are on there, you can find us at My Mistake the Podcast on Facebook. You
Fabulous.
can also find us on Instagram at My Mistake Podcast. You can tweet at us or about us, or you can subtweet us, but don't do that. Actually, at us. We're asking you to at us.
Please. If you subtweet us, we're probably not going to see it, so
Probably
we won't
won't,
even know that
right?
you've subtweeted us.
And we want to know. Trust me. And there on Twitter, we are at My Mistake 17. Because
love it.
numbers. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
numbers.
Yep. Cool.
Oh, what a journey, John. Well done, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed telling you all about these things that I told you about.
Now it's my
So-
turn. Now I have to come up with a hysterical
That's
mistake.
right. And that's why I'm throwing down the gauntlet
I
to
love it.
you to say it's on you now. You have to do the next hysterical story. I feel like we owe our people who've stuck with us for a long time. We owe them some more of these.
I agree.
Because I love them. I can't wait to be
I do too.
the listener as opposed to the talker.
It's the best.
Mm-hmm. It is the best. All right. You know what else is the best?
What's that?
Fucking Mike Pence.
It is the absolute best.
It is the best.
Fuck Mike Pence.
Fuck Mike Pence.
It's the best.
It's the best.
It's the best. Doesn't get any better than fucking Mike Pence.
Nope.